You know what we haven't reviewed on the channel in a long time? Some desktop speakers. In fact, it was January 2021 when I reviewed the Logitech LightSync and these antics happened. While I can assure you I'm not gonna pop, lock, and drop it in this video because I've aged a lot in the last 2 years, I will, however, deliver the most comprehensive in-depth review of the CR2X desktop speakers. Let's get it. A quick disclaimer for my audience, the Stallions and Stallionettes, these speakers were sent for review, but this is going to be an honest, comprehensive review. I haven't been paid or told to say anything about it, so if there's any cons, shortcomings, or areas of improvement, you're going to hear about it, so these companies can make better products over time. For being a compact or petite set of speakers, this is actually a relatively large box. As you can see, I barely got room on the unboxing table. Now, you are going to have a couple of modes of connectivity. You are going to have Bluetooth 5.0, and you're also going to have a USB connection if you want to go wired, tethered, if you will. One piece of documentation, your quick start guide, and I'm a bit of a connoisseur when it comes to instruction manuals, pamphlets, or brochures. And this simply isn't it. Text is quite small, no color pictures, several languages blended together, and your safety, regulatory, and warranty guides are all sprinkled within the instructions. But you do have one useful diagram here, which is a full breakdown of how you are going to hook up. But this page is the redeeming factor over here. Page 8, the font gets much larger. English is the primary language. You do also have Espanol for our brothers on the other side of the border. Very nice breakdown of all of the controls, ports, plugs, and buttons on this speaker set, which you don't need because you have this video, but if you don't, my golly, that was good. Some basic egg carton in here, so no laser cut foam keeping your speakers in place or anything. The speakers themselves do feel quite hefty right out of the gate, being careful to not actually touch the drivers and damage them. And you do have one box of accessories. That box will have your speaker connectors, the power cable with its matching AC/DC adapter, and a 3.5mm jumper cable. Inside of each of the speaker baggies, you will have the largest desiccant packets or moisture wicking baggies I've ever seen, so make sure you properly dispose of these. Not that these really look like a snack to kids or pets like the small ones do. Despite the fact I have toothpick wrists, these would be heavy for anybody. Yeah, 3 pounds, 2.4 ounces. At least that's what I'm getting on this scale. Manufacturer's weight and dimensions. Pop it up on screen right here. Finger guns. I'm going to be overlaying some B-roll, but the design of these speakers is actually quite good. You have a haptic or touch sensitive pad for volume control, as well as a capacitive touch button to the right of it. You have an LED indicator light in the center at the bottom. You also have a 3.5mm jack on the left side. And on the bottom, you do have 4 very nice rubberized feet. This isn't going anywhere. Between the actual weight of the speaker and those grippy rubberized feet, she's planted. The drivers, not that I'm trying to touch them more than I need to, actually feel incredibly high quality, and the majority of the body is plastic. However, there is a brushed aluminum plate on the front. What is going on with my light? She's flickering on me. She's dancing. On the back, you have your power connector, which is a barrel plug. You do have an on and off switch, your 2 speaker connectors, a USB-C port, as well as 2 3.5mm jacks, one for subwoofer and one for audio in. Cosmetically, I have to say the lime green trim is a bad decision, as that doesn't go with very many people's themes or setups. Also, while we're talking about design bumbles, the little guy doing the Running Man in the corner, I don't know why that logo has to be stamped or emblazed on the front. Hopefully the sound department really blows me away, because cosmetically I'm not a huge fan of the appearance of these speakers. I'd give it a 2 out of 5. These speakers retail for $180 US, definitely putting them in a mid to premium price tier. These drivers utilize BMR technology. Actually did sound very crystal clear, and I was worried it would have somewhat of an S-curve, like consumer grade headphones and desktop speakers generally do, where the bass is significantly boosted, the mid-range pretty flat and muddy, and then the treble kicked up with a little bit of peak brightness, which sounds great, but it's definitely not natural or organic. That's why people generally don't use those kind of speakers, consumer grade speakers, as studio monitors, because they're not very accurate. Mackie has made some speakers that, in my opinion, are quite accurate. They were pretty well balanced. They were a little bit heavy on the rump, the tuchus, on the bass frequencies is what I mean, but they sounded very good in my opinion. I had them plugged into the TV in my guest room, as well as the desktop in there, and it definitely did fill the room with sound. I did a little research and I cracked the Da Vinci Code. The reason the CR2 sounds more like studio reference monitors than traditional consumer grade desktop speakers that have a generically pumped in equalizer to give you more bass and treble than is really in the song. Mackie's history or lineage actually lies in studio equipment. Talking about boom arms and even casting equipment like this little bad boy here. You're catching on to the trend here. High quality audio equipment. And luckily these CR2s, even though they're desktop speakers, definitely carry on that high quality that Mackie is known for since 1989 when it comes to not desktop speakers. speakers. This is honestly one of my favorite features of the speaker is the fact that it has 3 input methods, USB-C, 3.5mm jack, as well as Bluetooth 5.0. And these speakers are actually expandable with a subwoofer, as they do have an output jack and crossover mode. And if you come down here, they got their big old fat subwoofer, which is the same price as the actual speaker set. Same thing with the Sonos soundbar, review coming in the near future. The subwoofer is as much as the dang soundbar. My goodness, golly jeepers. All right, moving on. But IMO, or in my opinion, you do not need the subwoofer unless you are using these speakers in a living room or a large bedroom. But if you are using these speakers as intended or labeled as desktop speakers, most likely paired to a computer in a relatively small bedroom in your house, the speakers alone would provide plenty of bass for you. Again, unless you're in a living room, large bedroom, use the subwoofer to supplement the low-end frequencies. The pros, cons, and verdict. We'll start with the cons, get those out of the way. Cosmetically, I don't believe these are very handsome speakers. I think it looked good with the brushed aluminum, but then that lime green trim just kind of killed it. Next, these speakers are labeled as being compact. However, they're not that tiny, and they're also pretty heavy at over 3 pounds. Be mindful of the weight and dimensions that were mentioned earlier in the review, and make sure that this will fit into your setup if you're going for a low-profile, sleek setup. For example, I have a standing desk in the beach-themed guest room where I'm most likely just going to have a laptop or maybe a compact desktop with an ultra-wide monitor, and these speakers would actually be a little bit too big and bulky for that setup. On to the pros. I like the fact that there are 3 input methods, USB-C, 3.5mm jack, as well as Bluetooth 5.0. Sweet, love to see that. I also like the fact there is a dedicated subwoofer output with crossover support, and this does have a matching subwoofer to complete the set with easy connectivity and all that other jazz for when you're ready to expand for that hard-hitting bass. And I think the sound quality, the actual performance for the $180 price point with the free shipping that they offer on Amazon as well as their website is definitely worth it. Let me just bust out a Sharpie and black out those lime green trim pieces. I definitely like the capacitive touch controls. They're very responsive. I had no issues. I also think the base or stand is very well planted between being very heavy and then also the 4 rubberized feet. Overall, I think the CR2X is a solid package. I wish they would revise the next model, removing that lime green and the Running Man logo on the front, and maybe making them a little bit more compact. I don't know how much more they can shave down the body. I'm not going to disassemble it and see how far the internals stretch out to the actual outer shell. Maybe a little sleeker and more compact on the next compact model. But these are good. They sound great. They sound solid. They are linked in the description below, and I will see you Stallions and Stallionettes tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at Gamer Heaven. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and Stallionettes of Gamer Heaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number, and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding, starting June I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting Gamer Heaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, all the time, 60% of the time, sometimes, most of the time. Peace.